You're Superb, back with another video, and I just got done watching From Season 2, Episode 4. Man, this is a very Kenny-centric episode, more so Kenny and Boyd, and we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to talk about spoilers. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Follow me on Twitter at PerpMinder420, and let's get into it. So, it starts off, Tabitha telling Julie, okay, I'm gonna go see Jim. I'm gonna go see your dad real quick. I'm starting to see things again, and I just need to go see him. You hang out here with Ethan. She decides to take Ethan though to go see Victor. We'll get back to that, but I like how they jump into a flashback with Kenny and his father and him just moving into the clinic and whatnot because of him opening up doors and them having that scare. That's why he was there. Kenny obviously didn't want him being there, but they had to do what was best. And I definitely like to see the hints of Kenny liking Christy and stuff, unfortunately, and we see the inception of him becoming deputy, where Boyd kind of approaches him and says, I could use some help, and I could use somebody to watch my six. So that was really dope, and it goes back into present day with Kenny running up to Boyd saying, like, you need to come here quick, and showing that Sarah has popped up in Father Crabtree's his house in the basement. That's where her faraway tree took her, which was very interesting, and this is where Boyd kind of tells Kenny, look, I just need to talk to Sarah alone real quick. Can you just let us have a moment? And Sarah is very much kind of at this place where she understands that she has done wrong, and she doesn't feel like she should be here at all around any of these people. And Boyd's like, yeah, this is going to be a huge issue if people find out that you're alive, and it's going to cause more problems for everybody. Which, this is where Boyd tries to break down everything with Sarah, and you could tell that Kenny's just in kind of disbelief. He doesn't know how to kind of feel about this because of all the rules and all the rules that he set for this place, for the town. And Kenny's like, you're going to go back on that? Like, Sarah has killed multiple people. She was going to kill that kid. And he also doesn't know that Sarah is the reason why Kenny's father's dead. And that's all the more reason for Kenny to be on the opposite side of Boyd. Then this is where Boyd starts to kind of freak out, starts to raise his voice, saying nobody's going into the box. He doesn't want to do that no more, and he starts to kind of freak out, and his vision starts to get hazy. I don't know if it's the Parkinson's or if it's this place, or maybe it's just the worms that he starts to see. Is that all in his mind? But he ends up kind of just passing out a little bit. Then we see Julie pop up at Colony House to look for Victor. Well, to go there for Ethan to go talk to Victor, but obviously Julie is looking for Fatima. Fatima finds Julie, and it seems like the whole news of her and Ellis getting married kind of has her feeling some type of way. And she also mentions the new kid, Elgin, which she kind of volunteers to make sure he's okay and kind of talk to him to kind of ease his mind, because she had a little bit of a freak out as well. So it is nice to have other people to talk to, and Elgin's just around her age range, so that helps as well. And I think that they are teasing a potential storyline between Elgin and Julie, which would be interesting, and kind of get more backstory on Elgin and where was he headed this whole time? Who knows? That would be interesting to kind of figure out at some point in the season or in a future season. Then Ethan and Victor start to have their kind of first kind of official fight, where they were kind of friends, and he just felt some type of way about them kind of going through his stuff. He's also drawing things that he had seen and hasn't seen just yet. So that's pretty interesting. But I understand why Victor is acting the way he is. He's pretty much a 10-year-old kid, in a grown man body. So, and he's just been so isolated from people, he doesn't know how to really react to certain things. But we jump over back to Boyd, and he's getting his wounds kind of looked at, his spider bites, and then I love his reaction to when Christy asks him about the scar on his arm, or the cut on his arm. He's like, "Oh, it's a tree branch, nothing to worry about." And he always has a way to kind of make people feel better or just make them laugh, because it was funny where, Christy was kind of going back and forth and saying, like, you don't want to put no more stress on you. And he's like, look, we're living in this place. There's going to be stress. It's hard not to be stressed out. It's hard not to be depressed. Everybody's depressed here or feeling some type of trauma from being in this place. And he just kind of laughs it off. Going back to Kenny and his mom checking up on him, making sure he's okay, because she knows about the whole Christie situation, and just tries to make sure he's okay, which is dope. Speaking of which, you have the bus driver, Bacta, I think that's her name. Her and Jade kind of have a moment where Jade's kind of trying to ease her mind a little bit, because she blames herself for putting the people on the bus in this situation. And he's like, there's nothing you could have done about that. Once you saw that tree, you were fucked. And we just got to make the best of things right now. We also find out that Jade also sold his company before he went here. So it's interesting, like, when they explain where a person was before they started to drive to whatever destination they were driving to end them up in this place. Back with Tabitha, she tries to go to the clinic to look for Jim and runs into Christie's fiance, Marielle, and she's kind of rummaging through the medicine cabinet, and Tabitha kind of gives her kind of weird look, like, what are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be looking after Jim? And Jim's already kind of up and at him, and he's looking at the bus people, and him and Tabitha start to have this conversation, and he starts to say, like, yo, you're not crazy for what you have saw, because maybe all of this is one fucked up experiment. He compares it to them building a roller coaster. Every time you think you have to kind of up the ante. You got to make things unbelievable and whatnot. So there's that. I don't know if Tabitha is gonna really buy into this, or is Jim going to be able to understand what Tabitha is going to go through? Because that's interesting that she hasn't said a word about seeing these ghost children. And I think that's what she wanted to tell Jim, but then now Jim's kind of got his own theory on everything. But we'll get back to that very shortly. Jumping over to Boyd and him kind of just waking up, after being looked at from Christie, he starts to see Father Crabtree, and just Father Crabtree starts to kind of put some guilt on it in his mind, and you're thinking, like, is this the Parkinson's, or Boyd is really losing his mind at this moment, but Father Crabtree's telling him, like, you gotta tell Kenny at some point, and the fact that you waited this long is only going to make it worse. And that's so interesting, that whole scene. Let me know how you guys feel about that in the comments below. Back to Jim, and he's trying to approach Donna because she's the only other person that has heard that other person on the radio. And Donna's like, yo, you need to not to say shit, because we don't know if that's going to be one of the monsters or whoever, and it's not going to be a good thing. So it's best to just keep your mouth shut for now until we find out more information, which I couldn't agree more. And now Randall has been a problem throughout this whole entire episode, and I'm wondering where they're going to take his character. Is he going to survive, or is he going to end up seeing exactly what he's dealing with, and he's going to be able to kind of fall in line with everything there. So Donna sets up a crib for him on the bus, and says like, look, breaks down the whole rules. If this talisman falls, you are fucked. Then we get towards the end of the episode where Kenny starts to kind of have a conversation with Sarah, just kind of asking her about her mindset, like what made you kind of do that. And it's interesting that Kenny doesn't believe in certain things, or he believes in backing up Boyd, but he doesn't really understand why, and he's just as afraid if this gets out, because it's going to just start more problems. And everybody's kind of together right now, and this is going to divide people for sure. But then Sarah tells Kenny off camera, obviously, about his father and why it's her fault, and this is what causes the rift between Kenny and Boyd. And Kenny is very much pissed at Boyd, saying like, how could you keep this from me? You knew that what this could have done, and yada yada yada. He pretty much gives up being his deputy, and also says like, no, she needs to go into the box. And I'm wondering what Kenny's gonna do. Is he gonna just blow it up amongst everybody else, tell everybody, or that's pretty much Boyd gives Boyd an ultimatum, saying like, yo, put her in a box, or I'm just gonna blow this whole thing up. And maybe he's going to go try to kill Sarah himself, who knows. But Kenny is definitely going down a very interesting path. So let me know how you guys feel about this episode. I thought this was a really good episode. We also learned about the old lady's name is Tilly. Just something else new that we learn in this episode. But like I said, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, follow me on Twitter at PerpMinded420, and I will see y'all in the next From Review. Peace.